Hello and welcome everyone to yet another inspiring conversation at ETHRWorld Women Trailblazers 2022. I have with me Lakshmi R. Rajagopal, Head Diversity and Inclusion and HR Lead, India Operations Business Unit and Chennai, Fidelity Investments India. As the Head of D&I at Fidelity Investments India, Lakshmi seeks to ensure a special focus on multiple aspects of diversity at the workplace, including gender, generational, multicultural, LGBTQ, cognitive, and differentially abled talent. In addition, as the HR lead for the operations business unit at Fidelity Investments and the Chennai site, including India overall, Lakshmi is responsible for their HR strategy and business growth. She is also an active member of various industry forums and participates in several initiatives. Welcome, Lakshmi.
Thank you, Apeksha. It is great to be here.
Great to have you, Lakshmi. So, Lakshmi, to start the conversation, what has been your journey like as a leader? How it has been, especially in the last 2 years, looking at how you landed at the next normal of work, if you can please throw some light on that.
Sure. So when the pandemic started, everything was overwhelming. There were far too many questions on my mind and mental fatigue was all too real. But over time, I realized while I have little or no control over what was happening in the external world, I had full control over how I could handle situations. This led me to challenge the fears in my mind and find creative or different ways of solving them. This realization actually gave me the confidence to wade through some very tough and ambiguous situations. It also made me find different ways of reaching out to people to both seek and extend a helping hand. 2 years on, my perspectives and approach have significantly changed. The journey I find is still challenging, but I'm a lot more confident than I was at the start of the pandemic. I believe taking one step after another with hope and confidence keeps us moving forward.
That's great to know, Lakshmi. Some great things which the other leaders can also imbibe. So what are some strategies, Lakshmi, that you think can help women grow within their organization? You shared some in terms of how you should, go about the uncertainties in life, whether it's corporate or personal. And is there a single piece of advice you would also like to give the next generation of women leaders in your industry or maybe in your profile?
That's a great question, Apeksha. I wish there was a secret sauce that I can share, but we all know there isn't one. So I'm going to sort of share a couple of things that have worked for me. The first one I would say is know your strengths. Understand what you are great at, and I intentionally used great here as good may not be good enough. It's important to know the value that we bring to the table. Indra Nooyi actually calls this as the competence or building a hip pocket skill. It's a human skill, it's not a hard skill, like she says. If you know and effectively leverage your strengths, you will consistently be great at them and it will definitely show to the whole world. That's the first one. The second one I would say is probably raise your hand. That's the next logical step. We proactively have to seek opportunities. It is important that we sort of take charge of a career and raise our hand to leverage available opportunities rather than just waiting for them to come our way. Organizations today are consistently building facilitative ecosystems to ensure all segments of employees feel included and are provided opportunities for success. But what is important is that anyone who wants to be a leader should be proactive to leverage those available opportunities. This will truly help set one for success. Now we know our strengths, we've raised our hand. So what is next? So you build a sponsor network, and that's the third on my list. I've heard many times that leaders should build an effective network system for themselves. It is good advice, it has its own merits, but what is more important is that leaders are able to build a network of trusted executive sponsors for themselves, what some have called our own personal board of management. Research says women get a lot of mentoring and training opportunities, but rarely have executive sponsors. Sponsors are actually our advocates who will be a powerful voice for us at the leadership table and make sure we are seen and heard. For some of us, it could be senior level sponsors. For some of us, it could even be the employee resource group, whichever way, right? We should leverage our strengths, grab the opportunities, and lean into the ecosystem, and that would probably do the trick.
That's great, Lakshmi. Mentorship is something which is very essential, and I think that while it is important for genders across, it is specifically needed for women. It is time that there are special initiatives which are taken in this area. So, any special mention of a mentor that you would like to have here in your life, personal or professional?
Oh yeah, I have a lot of them, starting from my own family circle of my grandmom, my parents, my husband. But I also draw inspiration from probably whoever I work with, Apeksha. So I don't want to name one person. So probably if we were to put our heads down and do our work, we will just miss all the goodness that's there. I've been fortunate to have a lot of learning experience from across the organizations, across industries, and there are so many of them.
Great, Lakshmi. So to conclude this session, Lakshmi, in line with this year's International Women's Day campaign theme, how will you choose to break the bias?
Thank you, Apeksha. That's a great question as well. It's one of my favorites. Firstly, I would like to emphasize the need to overcome one's self-limiting bias, the belief that there are limitations to what one can achieve. This pandemic has been a catalyst for us to move out of our comfort zones and challenge the status quo. It has also brought to the fore even more the realization that all too often limitations are just in our mind. Notwithstanding the presence of an external catalyst or not, we are all capable of achieving so much more than we know. We build our own walls, we create our own shackles. I'm constantly seeking to challenge this internal bias by converting the challenges into opportunities wherever I can. I would encourage all women to do likewise. The whole world is our canvas. And the second bias that I would like to call out, the human race is very diverse and all of us can be seen as beautiful pieces in a kaleidoscope. We all think differently. Our personality styles are also very different. No two of us are alike. You are unique. I am unique. I have sort of taken an inclusion pledge of late to be more aware of the diversity of differences of people around me. How do I appreciate these differences and learn from them? These make our every interaction more rich and impactful and make us evolved individuals. This is something that I've been consciously working on and hope to make a hardwired habit over time. As I work through these biases, I'm reminded of Robert Frost's quotes, "I have miles to go before I sleep."
Great thoughts there, Lakshmi. And if I can put it in the words of social media, it is going to be hashtag breaking the internal bias, what I'm taking out of this conversation with you. So thank you so much, Lakshmi. It was a pleasure having you at this interaction. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Apeksha, for the opportunity. Nice talking to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lakshmi.